Awesome,
Okay,
awesome.
we are live and we are recording. Hello and welcome, everyone. Super excited, been waiting for this day. I'm Brenny Larson, and I'm hosting this Builderall Mastery Summit. I asked several of what I consider the experts in the group who were giving a lot of value and knew what they were doing, who seemed to be very passionate about Builderall, plus helping entrepreneurs to get online and be a success. Myself being spiritual, I understand that the geek side doesn't happen for everybody. So I really appreciate that everyone takes the time, A, to show up as a participant, but B, thank you especially to the speakers. And today we have Seth Estrada. I'm going to give you a quick background on him and then he will do his presentation. So Seth steals fire from the Fortune 500 Mount Olympus and brings it down to earth for small business owners. He is a senior Fortune 500 trainer and consultant who also helps a business owner apply these principles of big business to cut marketing costs, refine sales messages, and free their time to spend it where it matters. He's helped thousands of entrepreneurs and brand managers to discover and overcome their real roadblocks to success. He currently has more than 10 published online courses with over 13,000 students and 5 professional master classes in development. He's relentlessly passionate, and I can tell you that is for sure. If you've ever watched any of his videos, he's a very passionate about helping small business owners avoid some common pitfalls associated with scaling their business, correct their entrepreneurial mindset to take massive action and get big results. That's what we're looking for, yes. As a consultant, he does this through creating personalized, simple processes and systems. He believes that achieving success is not only attainable, but it's the right of every human, and with the goal to claim it. Okay, so when mindset and motivation aren't enough, you just need simple, reproductive means to achieve your goals. So today, get ready to learn how to conserve your time while increasing profits and ramping up your business bandwidth and improving both professional and personal relationships. Woo! Okay, guys, so now I'm going to flip it on over to our lovely speaker today. Just give me a second, because I'm looking for you, Seth. Guys, see, this just gives you permission to be you. Okay, panelists, I don't want the panelists. Give me a second, guys. I have not used this particular one before, and for some reason I'm not seeing Seth. I'm seeing everyone but Seth, and I really wanted to make him a host. Where are you, pal? I'm going to stop the screen share and find him. Yay! There you go. Okay, awesome. I'm out of here. It's your show, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, first off, let me just really take a moment to thank and congratulate Brenny Larson for putting all of this together, for being such a tremendous force for good. If you're not friends with Brenny on Facebook, I highly recommend that you do that now before she runs out of bandwidth and can no longer take personal requests on her Facebook account. Because every conversation that I've had with Brenny has been, it's been uplifting. It's been adding value to my business, to my mindset, and to my ability to move forward with Builderall as a platform. So, Brenny, thank you so much. Your kind words mean a lot because they're totally qualified. I really appreciate that intro. All right, so quick check-in as far as the technology. Can you see the screen? I'm just going to ask the group. Can you see the screen? Can you see where it says Builderall Mastery Summit, 8 Secrets of Successful Consultants? Is that working? Nancy, lo siento mucho que voy a hablar en inglés exclusivamente durante esta presentación. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nancy. Siento mucho. This is going to be a strictly English presentation today. For those of you who are maybe visiting us from Brazil, you can never tell with Builderall, right? Falo pouquinho o português, mas entendo bastante. I just don't speak as much as I understand. Sorry. So we're going to keep this one in English today. If you have your speakers unmuted, I'm going to request that you mute your speakers now for the recording. That way, anybody who comes back in is going to be able to hear the presentation very clearly. So I'll give you just a brief moment now. Please do that right now if you don't have your speakers. I'm sorry, not speakers muted, your microphone muted. Good grief. You're not going to hear anything if your speakers are muted. Jeez. Brenny, please don't fire me. I said the wrong thing. Okay. Okay, so I'm not hearing an echo anymore. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate that. Okay, guys, so 8 secrets of successful consultants. And of course, with Builderall, how you can beat the pros. I'm super excited to present this to you. But let's start by just telling you, Brenny gave a tremendous introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to qualify myself here by saying that my name is Seth Estrada. There's a picture of me winking at you. That's when I was a consultant for Samsung Mobile USA and doing work for them, creating curriculum in their Dallas office in Dallas, Texas. And a little bit of about my background. My clients have ranged on the national level from Microsoft and AT&T to, of course, some freelance contract work done with Samsung to, on a regional level, training for Sony, Google, Dell Computer, and again, Samsung at the regional level. That is to say, I'm extremely passionate about helping businesses succeed. And I've done it with a track record at the national and regional level for brands that you've probably heard of. So that's where I'm coming from. And that's why when I saw Builderall, I understood that there was an opportunity to really help mid-sized businesses, not just the Fortune 500, but businesses that are really focused on brand and growth. But that's me in a nutshell, and that's where I come from. Before we begin, though, now that you know where I come from, and now you know the lens through which I view Builderall, I need something from you. I need a commitment. And I'm being very serious about this. I need you to promise me something. And I need you to tell me in the chat, I want you to tell me that you will promise me that from today's presentation, you'll take at least one principle or technique from today's presentation and you will implement it before the end of the day today. That you will not let a day go by without doing something that you've learned from this presentation. Can you promise me that? Awesome. I see Michelle says she promises. Thomas says at least one will be implemented. Omega says, yep. Yes. Awesome. Tom says that's my promise. Okay. All right. Is everybody in? Are you serious about growing your business? That's what I need to know. Are you serious? Because the tools are here. Awesome. Okay. Now that I know you're serious, because as you know, we're volunteering our time. I literally had to drive away from an undisclosed location where I was having conversations, consulting conversations with clients who I can't even name. I'm not talking about Fortune 500. I'm talking about top secret stuff that you have to shred until it's powder. Put in the top secret shredder, and I gave up that afternoon worth of privileged client conversations to come here and share this with you. So your commitment means everything to me right now. Awesome. Here's my commitment to you. You will learn positioning and professional secrets for your business, and you will generate immediate results today if you do something from this presentation. Today, you will see immediate results for your business. And the secrets I'm going to teach you fall into 4 categories. The first is selective representation. And if you're taking notes, this is worth writing down. Selective representation. It's a fancy way of saying what you put out into the world. And intentional prospecting. Just meaning being focused on who you're attracting and who you're marketing to. The third category that I'm going to teach you professional secrets for is creating value ladders. And the fourth category, this is where it gets good. You don't even need to take notes on this because I know this is what you came for. It's what we're all here for. Locking in profit. That's my commitment to you. So jumping directly in that first category, the first secret that consultants use and that you can beat is that their web presence is extremely simple. And the why is even easier. By show of hands or by saying just yes in the comments, Who here understands when I say what the word value prop? When I say a value proposition, is that immediately meaningful to you? Okay, Ray says yes, and Gene says yes, Omega says yes. A value proposition, for anybody who doesn't know, just means what I'm giving to you in exchange for what I'm asking, right? It's as simple as whatever the trade is, whether it is giving feng shui advice in exchange for chiropractic services or building a completely bespoke funnel from top to bottom in exchange for $10,000 US. That's a value proposition that we're all familiar with, right? We know about exchange. Like Brenny is our resident feng shui expert. So she says, feng shui for chiropractics? Nope. And I appreciate the business mindset because you have to know your worth. You have to know your value. But being able to communicate that simply, you just need a simple web presence. You do not need an extremely fancy website. And here's proof. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to, and don't pay any attention to that. Here is Gary Vaynerchuk. By show of hands, everybody's saying yes. Who here knows who Gary Vaynerchuk is? You may know him, you may not know him. Kind of a loudmouth personality on the internet today. He did a fully staged interview with Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes, right? Gene, I know that you know him, but here's the thing. There are some people who don't know him. Believe it or not, it sounds kind of crazy to those who know him, but there are people who don't know him, right? The world, even though it's a small place, the World Wide Web is still kind of a big place, and there's room for growth. But Gary Vaynerchuk, here's his website. Are there drop-down menus? I'm going to go ahead and mouse over. Nope. 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 No. All of 6 menu links on top, and that's it. The very top with a video that can play. We can play right there, and then an email capture form built in with sticky navigation. This is not rocket science here, but this individual moves product, and he moves referral and affiliate product, and he moves services. And it doesn't take much. Just a clearly defined value proposition. When you look at this website, what do you think this communicates? Even just the picture of Gary pointing out over an audience that's packed, a room full of people. Feel free to answer if you want to in the comments, but in your mind, you can answer this for yourself. What does this communicate to you? His signature on the front, and there, the man himself pointing over the audience and people with their eyes fixed on him. It shows some expertise, doesn't it? And then a video that can be played right here. Again,
welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Now, I don't think we need to listen to this for very long. And that's Mike Wallace, of course, for a price. I'm sure you can be interviewed by him. However, instant authority. Thank you, Brenny. Instant authority. For those who don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, you almost certainly know Mike Wallace. There's no way that you can miss. When you have those two on stage or those two on screen, you're going to recognize one, and then you will recognize the other. So that's a lesson for another time. But the web presence itself, very, very simple, right? It's so simple that I copied it, and please try not to laugh. I copied it directly right here. But where would you suppose that I created this website, this clone? Yeah, 3 guesses. I'll guess it rhymes with Builderall. Right here, first time here. That graphic is not trademarked. So I went ahead, and this is not published either. At least it's not published in a way that I'm promoting. Exact same graphic, similar font right there. And I just decided, it's not really Gary Vaynerchuk, so it's, yeah, not Garvey. But we use the same elements on the front page right here, scrolling all the way down to some of the exact same contact elements at the bottom. The content itself, of course, will change, but you see that the footer is largely similar, and it goes from page to page, right? And I appreciate what Brenny says right there, modeling success. It's not too difficult once you see something that works. And further, the point is, Gary V, his web presence is very simple. The reason it's so simple, whoa, hey now. Alrighty, let's jump back right here. The reason it's so simple, people can easily tune into WIIFM. Now, those of you who are used to FM radio, I think you're familiar with what I mean. And those of you who know the phrase, you know what I mean. What's in it for me? If people don't understand that side of the value proposition, then you haven't communicated it successfully. That's why the web presence needs to be simple. And that's why you don't want a complicated website. It's just too hard to sift through all the excess white noise. So you want an extremely simple website. Make sense? Of course it does. The second secret of consultants is that their customer avatar is clearly defined. Now, in this group, does the word customer avatar, the phrase customer avatar, like not mean anything to you? Does it seem weird? Has anybody here not heard that before? Because by any other name, you might say customer profile, right? And the reason is you can't sell to people you don't understand. If you don't know what their needs are and you don't know what they want to buy, you can't very well sell to them, right? So if you think it's one thing that they need and you make a mistake, well, then your product or your offer won't sell. It just stands to reason, right? And we know this from being professionals of all stripes and having all different kinds of backgrounds. But for some reason, when we get to consulting, when we get to making recommendations and doing affiliate referrals, we seem to occasionally miss the boat, right? We think, well, this is one size fits all. Everybody wants this. Oh, no, 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 no. That is not true. Not everybody wants everything. And so what successful consultants know is who does want what they offer. It's a really simple, very simple principle. But I promise you, if you fail to execute on this principle, your business will fail, no matter what you're selling. And that's nowhere more true than when in affiliate business. So that's principle number 2. And before we jump over to that, let me jump back to Gary Vee's website. Who do you imagine, and I would like some engagement here, some interaction. We can get some comments on Facebook and here in the Zoom comments so I can see them immediately. Who do you think Gary Vee is selling to? Just looking at his website with a design like this. He's pointing to the audience. He's pointing to his own head. He has some social proof right here from publications that he's worked in. All right, Gene says people that want personal growth, right? Even with all these different images of him, what is he always wearing? Right there, he's got a jersey top right there. And now he's got a hoodie on, right? Mindset. Yes, Michelle, mindset. Brittany says mindset. Absolutely. Right here, he's got another jersey top on, right? He's got a pullover, right? He's wearing workout clothing, right? Yeah, Michelle says thinkers, millennials, right? Now, here's the thing. Personal growth, all of it, right? All around. This is somebody who wants to communicate to you that you need to be growing in a growth mindset, right? Yeah, action takers. Thank you, Shelley. He's always moving, right? Even here, when he's sitting down, he's pointing. It's an active motion right there, pointing, standing up and moving. Now, that's his target market, and that's who he's selling to, right? It doesn't have to be the case for everybody, but for somebody who does want to sell to a similar audience, and I'm only doing this because it's convenient for me, right? It's low-hanging fruit. It's something that I think I know a little bit about. You'll notice this is my photo from when I was training for a vendor and going to Minnesota, the headquarters of Best Buy Inc., and then flying all across the United States to train all of their employees on behalf of Microsoft. That very much, it works for me. It jives with me, right? That concept of being an action taker and being active and thinking 2 steps ahead of where a prospect might be. So that makes sense to me, talking to that customer avatar. But that's not everybody who we're trying to talk to with this opportunity either. So let's look at point number 3 here. Successful consultants do not follow leads. Ever. They don't follow leads. Prospects, yes. When somebody says, I'm buying, they follow prospects, but they do not follow leads. I'm pounding on the table right now. I don't know if you can hear that. They attract lists. That is why email matters so much. And people who say, well, it's all about Facebook automation. No, it's all about chatbots. No, it's all about this other technology. No, it's about ephemeral media. No, you want to be on Snapchat. No, try Instagram. No. You want to be on the most highly automated platform ever to be invented so that you preserve your time. You only ever want to spend time on people who are actually offering you money, which is why email still matters. So to begin with, just the law of diminishing returns, just the law of click-through and open rates. If you don't have a list of 5,000 to start, then you're not really working with a list, because you need to be able to segment and you need to be able to test and you need to see what the click-through and the open rates are. Now, best case scenario, you might do 20% of people who actually take action when you're sending to an email list. So 20% of 5,000. Now, here I'm going to get a little bit, it's going to get a little bit weird because you're going to see me look this up. Seth Godin, 1,000 true fans. If you're not familiar with this, this is something that has been retconned and rehashed multiple times. But Seth Godin, a popular thought leader, somebody who's been blogging since before the word blog even had a name. Seth Godin talks about how when you have 1,000 true fans, you never need to work again in your life, because these 1,000 true fans will buy something that you offer to them regularly. If they're a true fan and you hit them up every month and say, you know what, this only costs $7, they'll buy it because they trust you, right? They're true fans. With those 1,000 true fans, that equals $7,000 or more, depending on how high the trust is. $7,000 or more in your pocket every month. Starting with a list of 5,000 ensures that if you have a very effective click-through and culling rate of that list, and you get 20%, again, I'm not making any guarantees here. What I'm saying is that if you work for it, if you work hard enough to earn the trust, and you start with a list of 5,000 people who know you, you can end up with those 1,000 true fans overnight. But what you need is segmentation and lots of sending, because you need the data on who is being retained and who is converting and who is sticking around and who is taking action. Does that make sense? Are you guys still with me? I'm a little bit impassioned about this particular topic because I've had to give this advice to up-and-coming tech startups who then take this and then are responsible to use this for securing future funding and keeping their businesses alive. So it sounds, I mean, it might sound weird, but tech startups that already have $250,000 in the bank, they are learning these lessons also. So this is not something that I'm just saying to this group. So you absolutely need, in order to attract lists and keep them, you need email, at least a list of 5,000 to start with, and then proper segmentation so you understand what's happening when they get your emails, and then lots and lots of sending. For a comparable service, let me just say like MailChimp. What does MailChimp start with as far as the number of contacts you can add in the entry-level tier? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I'm just going to use them as an example because they're a very good product. But what is their limit? How do they limit you there? Anybody know? How big a list can you import? That's, Greg White says 2,000. Is that about right? Who knows? Is it 2,000 now? Okay, 2,000 for free before you have to start paying for increased capacity, right? So you can't quite get, unless you know you can convert at 50%. And if you think you can, kudos to you because you've solved, you win the internet. I'm sorry, but you know something that nobody else in the world knows how to do. If you can take a list of 2,000 and convert at least half of them and keep them active in your email list, you are an absolute rock star. And I'm going to get off this call right now, and I will go and pay you by the hour to teach me. Okay, cool. That sounds about right. So it's maybe 2,000 to start. And then segmentation, sure, it's available, but lots of sending. What if I want to send more than 2 per week? Can I do that on platforms like MailChimp or like other similar platforms? Can I send as many as I want to every month to make sure that I know what people are doing when I send? I don't think I can. I want to say there are limitations there. So that's what professional consultants are doing. But let me show you an example of a list that I have right here. I don't want to, this is not to be weird, but Brenny mentioned that I have a list of over 13,000. It's just barely over 13,000. I'm like super excited. It's just barely over 13,000, but I have a list of over 13,000 on a teaching platform that will remain nameless. But if you use it, then you already know what this dashboard looks like. So kudos to you. You're an insider if you know that. My rating is good, right? I'm above 4.2 stars, which is kind of what you need to maintain visibility in search. Don't want to make it weird by mentioning revenue, so that's blanked out. But 13,000 students, I would need to segment that list and see who actually comes out of that list, because crossing platforms can be difficult. But it would follow that if I continue with this trajectory here, a list of more than 5,000 to start, I begin segmenting that in that 13,000, I can find 1,000 true fans for what I do there. Does that make sense? But I need the right tools. I need the right platform. So converting this list at 20%, I'll still need more contacts and sends than what you guys mentioned MailChimp can handle at the cheap or free tier. Because even when I start paying, I don't have unlimited everything. And I don't have enough to start doing batches of 4,000 to get through this list right here and see exactly how the click-through and conversions work and be methodical and make sure it's reproducible. I can't do that with MailChimp. I have to do a lot more work. Does that make sense, guys? No. Humble brag, I have several other lists, and you should too. That's what I'm saying here. That's the secret of pro consultants, and this is what I teach new tech startups, is how to look at all of their web properties and look to see, where do I already have a list? Where do people already listen to me? How can I already turn my expertise with people who I already know into money? But the fourth principle here, it's still in that attracting lists and attracting the right person segment, or that attracting the right customer silo. They don't close. Professional consultants don't close. Crazy, right? But they don't close. They don't say like, all right, so can I count on you to do this thing? They just build value. And then they stay consistent, and then they call to act. They make a call to action. That's all they do. Rinse and repeat. Build more value. Add on top. People have to follow to get the right value progression. They stay consistent and they call to act, but they never close. For the same reason that they don't chase leads. They don't have to. They're getting their leads and they're getting their closing in bulk. And they do that by calling to act. But they need the right tools. Case in point, I'm going to go back to the Gary Vee website, and right here, I'm going to go back to my clone right here. What's the only visible button on this page? It's the first thing that grabs your attention. I'll give you a minute to answer here. The play, right? So, Gene, what do you think I have right behind this? The play button right there. Clearly, if you want to learn more, that's your only option, right? So what do I put there? Whatever I need to build value and call to act, right? And then jumping back, what's the only call to action that I have here? If somebody says, oh wait, I know this guy, not Garvey? Yeah, he's great. I love how he shaved his head once in his life, and then somebody takes this photo of him. That's literally the only time I've ever shaved my head. I don't know why. Yeah, I got great photos that one quarter. Gosh, where was I? I was in Chicago. I don't remember where I was. But yeah, somebody got this great photo, and I'm like, it's going to live forever, and I've got a shaved head, and it's really not the best look for me, but gosh darn it, there it is. Hey, thanks, Brenny. When you're on the road, away from wife and kids, you spend your recreation time just pumping iron, because you gotta stay right for your family. But I digress. Somebody comes here and says, that guy looks great. I know this guy, not Garvey. Yeah, let me do what he says, because I know him and I trust him. Only call to action is subscribe. We've kept it ultra simple, right? So our prospects don't need to think, right? We don't want to make them think. We just call them to act. And if we built enough value and they know us and they trust us, they act. Okay, let's talk about the next silo of building value ladders. Building value ladders. Again, some of the stuff is going to seem like common sense to you. You're going to be nodding your head in agreement, right? I mean, does anybody see this and so far think like, oh no, this is crazy, revolutionary. Seth, you're just, this is nuts. Where'd you get this, Seth? Wow, what a genius. Pretty basic, right? When you think about it. But are we all doing it? I submit that we're not all doing this to the level that we could. And I know that's true because that is why I'm a booked consultant. Because there are Fortune 500 and mid-level or mid-sized businesses that are not doing this. But number 5 is they never post their best content directly on social media. Here's a value ladder. I'm just going to kind of characterize this as a value ladder. And let's get a little pen to draw on this. Right here, social media, right? Like down below, come on now, pen. There we go. Social media right down here. And a lot of people, they get stuck here. Who here, just kind of by show of hands, you can tell me in the comments, who here gets stuck in the rope-a-dope answering questions day and night on social media? Who here gets pinged on Facebook Messenger at 11 p.m., their local time, or 4:30 a.m. because you have prospects in London? Yeah, right? Mohammed does. Right? Brenny does. I think in the panelist group, it's going to be pretty much everybody. Awesome. Gene, he just invoked the name of a tool that can automate some of this, which is great. And Shelly, of course, all day, every day. If you have a valuable opinion, of course, people want it for free, right? They want access to your brain. But you remember when we used to network? You remember that thing, networking? We used to actually go and drink coffee together and smell fresh air, people watch, make fun of weirdos that are probably just like us, but they just looked weird for a minute while they were walking by. Yeah, that thing. Gene knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, we used to actually look at people's real faces instead of their Facebook. We used to call that picking somebody's brain. That is social media, right? That's social media. It's picking somebody's brain over coffee. Right? And while it was a quaint thing, right, ain't nobody got time for that, right? We just can't do that. Yeah. And Shelly, you are right. You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. So, absolutely. Social media, way down here on the value ladder. That's just what I'm going to say about that. It's way at the bottom. You never put your diamonds there, ever. You would never, in the same way over lunch, you would never tell somebody the key to your business is this, unless it were a teaser, right? You would never do that over lunch. So never do that on social media. But growing up the ladder here, we're going to move up and you're going to start getting to DMs, right? Now you're talking. It's not just public for everybody to pick your brain for free or to take your processes and steal, right? And you're going to move up from there, and you might include somebody in a group on Facebook. And that's good. That's good because you have a little more exclusive access to them, right? Or you might also be on LinkedIn, and you might do the same thing over there. Again, we're so used to digital marketing circles where Facebook is like, it's king still, right? Absolutely. But let me submit this, that LinkedIn is queen to Facebook's kingdom. And she is up and coming. The king is not well by comparison. So you may have a LinkedIn group, right, that you're growing from, up this ladder where more exclusive content is posted, not publicly. Teasers, yes, all day. Teasers down here. In the same way you would give teasers for a lunch meeting, and then a coffee meeting, and then a dinner meeting, and then over drinks. Because we used to do this, right? This was an investment, and it paid off. If you gave the right teasers and you booked your time well. Now, we're spread so thin that we forget that we have to just go back to basics. This is what it's for. It's not for this, ever. So that's what professional consultants are doing, and that's how they win. They're not putting their best content directly on social media. Does that make sense, guys? Again, does anybody, I think with the panelist group, I don't think I'm going to get any pushback here. But do we have anybody in the Facebook group? Shelly, can you check that and just check that, see if anybody has any questions there? I've got my eyes off of it, the same way that Brenny does. But if anybody has any questions there, should be pretty straightforward, right? It's a value ladder. It's a value ladder. It just keeps growing upward and onward. And at the very top, right here, the green, where you would anticipate the big money is, it is decidedly not social media. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say about that. The sixth point, and this is something that is extremely important. Extremely important. Let me just jump back really fast because this is so important. So important. All of this value ladder here is meaningless. You can't progress going upward. All of it is meaningless unless you do point number 6. They ask their followers to commit to trying new things regularly. So, for example, if I told you that there were a platform, and this pitch is going to be tired to a lot of you guys, if I told you there was a platform that could replace your funnel builder, that could replace your visual website builder, that could replace WordPress, that could replace MailChimp, that could replace ChatFuel, that could replace your current animation builder, that could replace your Fiverr account with the person who is creating explainer videos for you, that could replace your presentation builder, that could replace any other animated video production tools that you're buying. And I could do it for $1 every day, just $1. Would you believe me? Would you try it? What would stop you, right? We have to ask people to commit. And at the very bottom is the easy stuff, right? Like, oh, check this out, free templates. Right? Free templates. Yeah. Now, Mohammed, trust me, I'm working on making sure that my chatbot sounds enough like me that it's going to cause some problems with my estate, because they'll be like, hey, he's still answering his Facebook messages. So, but right down here, easy, right? And Gene, people do tell you that you're nuts, right? When you show them Builderall, oh no, that can't be true. It's too good to be true, right? No way. No, I don't believe it. They're shocked. I mean, we should practically see if there's some way for us to mark up what we offer as affiliates, as tier 2 members, because people, they resist because it's too much value, right? But we start with the easy stuff. Try this out. Here's a template. Here's some photos, right? And we move up slowly. Hey, check this out. It's $3 a month to get a deal sent to your door every month, a la Dollar Shave Club, right? Or $5 now, or $7 after a couple of years of launch. And that just builds. Everybody repeat after me. I want you to say it out loud. Does that make sense? Because one of the ways that we add to this value ladder, and it might seem weird, right, is we ask people in person and we ask people live. Does that make sense? We're not just building value, we're also building agreement until we get to the highest value. And then with the highest value right here, it goes from a lot of ease, and they're like, yeah, everything that this person tells me makes sense. Every time Shelly tells me that I can use this tool over here to make product X and do it faster, cheaper, better, it always makes sense. Now she's asking for $15 a month? Done. Easy. Yeah, so you're saying I can save money? Done. No problem. Of course it makes sense. Every time Shelly talks to me, I'm happy to hear what she has to say, because we've started from easy commitments all the way up to the valuable commitments. Does that make sense? I kid. Of course it does. And then point number 7, guys, this is where the money is. It's where the rubber meets the road. Do not ever lower prices. Ever. Ever. It's better to start low and readjust. Even if you're starting from free, start low and readjust. And we see it even with the leadership team, the co-founder and leadership team at Builderall headquarters in Florida. They didn't start with something that dollar for dollar matched their direct competitors. They started low and will readjust as the confidence in that value is increased. Let me just jump back. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, it makes sense. Because we want to pay for something that we know works. And then as the value increases, readjust. Or if you're going to start high, you have to really be able to add more value. You got to pour it on, right? Who here has ever been to a nail salon or to a barber shop or any other place that offers free Wi-Fi? An in-person service. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have, or you can just say me. It almost sounds like nonsensical, right? Because in 2017, we kind of expect it, don't we? But rewind 10 years ago, you could go to a nail salon. You could go to a barber shop, right? Yeah, Jean, all those pedicures, man. It's always the quiet ones. Got to watch out. Out at Fort Hood, always the quiet ones. But yeah, we just expect it. We expect free Wi-Fi. It's just par for the course, right? And if you live in a Google Fiber neighborhood like I did in Austin, not only do you expect free Wi-Fi, you expect it to be fast enough to stream Netflix in 4K, period. And if it doesn't, you're like, can I get the money from my latte back? Because I feel kind of cheated, right? So when you start high, you've got to dump on the value. But better to start low, right? And then just readjust. If you start too high and you drop, it's just bad form, right? Oh, yeah, and Shelly, hotel, for sure. No, I hear you. It's absolutely essential. And if they charge you $20 per day to give you a 1.5 megabit per second connection, they are crossed off the list the next time you go through town, right? Like, you just can't do business like that. But if we start too high, like hotels do, right? They need a little bit of, just a little bit of disruption, I think. Oh, wait, Airbnb exists. What? But if you start too high and then you drop the prices, it just looks like, oops, oh no, we didn't know what we were doing. So never lower prices ever. And guys, the last point, this is what professional consultants know and what they do that the average don't actually execute on. This matters, and this is where all of the money is, and I am not exaggerating when I say all of the money is right here. They host and they deliver their own content. Let me repeat that. And if you didn't write it down, I want you to write this down. Professional consultants who book 6 figures in business host and deliver their own content. All of them host and deliver their own content. Let me just invoke really fast the success story here with Gary Vaynerchuk. Not only is it hosted and delivered, it's hosted and delivered in any way that is most convenient for people who want to consume the content. How many different ways can you log into the podcast? Did you even know it was possible to log onto a podcast with these 9 services? With some of them? Are some of these a revelation to some of you? So question from Justina. What do you class as a high cost? Now, Justina, that's a phenomenal question. I promise I'll refrain from answering questions with questions too often, but I need a little bit of clarification. A high cost in exchange for what? Because do I have permission to talk a little bit about my consulting business right now? I'm not going to be prospecting here, but I want to try to I want to try to frame this question correctly. Can I use my own consulting as what we are exchanging for the high cost? I need a little bit of clarification there. Okay, so Justina, I'm going to use my own consulting as the basis for exchange here, value proposition. And I don't publish this because it changes from client to client. What? Right? Just like the bidding process. If somebody asks you to create a funnel, you need to know what's entailed, right? You might need to do some Facebook automation. You might not. You might not need to do any Facebook automation because they work solely with government and military contracts. Ask me how I know. Okay, no, don't, because I'd have to kill you. But you might not need to use Facebook automation, and you have to figure out exactly what their needs are before you price it. That makes sense? And one case in point, I had a tech startup locally that needed help understanding how to prospect correctly on LinkedIn. And they have a very specific customer profile that they're after. And they have a very specific sales motion that they thought worked, and they needed me to correct so they would be more efficient at finding qualified leads on LinkedIn and engaging them, and then progressing them through a sales process that ultimately led to a white label service. So it's a very complex sales proposition that they have and sales motion that they have. I charge them $250 an hour, and I only charged them that little because I didn't have to leave town. They were across town, and they came to me and said, hey, can we just book you sometime this week? I had an open spot, and so I was able to say, fine, $250 an hour, when and where, and I didn't have to go out of my way, and they paid my day expenses. But a high cost, it's all dependent on what it will provide them in value. I charged them $250 an hour and spent all afternoon with their team because I knew that just one sale of what they were selling would give them double what they paid me. Does that make sense? So when we look at value, you have to figure out what is going to be the result for this person, for this client, for this prospect. Is it going to result in them getting a 10x return, a 2x return? And if I, like, where can I push that margin? But specifically, when it comes to services, right? I'll design this funnel for you. I'll create this website template, right? I'll go and I will clone Gary V's website for you. Does that make sense? So depending on the value that you create for that person and the work that you take away from them, the headache, and then what they are willing to pay, that kind of has to all be factored in for high cost. Obviously, there are differences in market rates. I can't go charging a client from India the same price that I would charge somebody from Leeds, right? Or from London. So Michelle says, if I can make you 100, you would easily pay me 10 to 20. Absolutely true. If you know that it's a 10x return, you can charge 10%. I recommend just having a really in-depth conversation and understanding, jumping back to point number 2, understanding your customer profile. Hey, Jermaine, you caught me off guard, Jermaine. Your first name grew and changed enough that I was like, Michelle, you sound a little different. But anyway, really appreciate the chiming in there. Yeah, your name looks different. So absolutely, but they host and deliver their own content. That matters. Let's go over this just really briefly, point by point, and then we'll be really close to opening this up to a Q&A, because this is where the money is. This is where the value is. I promise you. I promise you. Because after that consulting, let me just use that last example of doing the LinkedIn prospecting with a local client where I didn't have to charge too much. I only charged hourly because it wound up being, like under a full day. I was still able to get other work done for other clients because I was within like stone's throw of my office. But very top, blog. I can use that case study on my blog, and it's exclusive. Nobody else can refute that case study belongs on my blog. And if they try to copy the info from my blog, they're going to get busted because that's my case study for that client. Podcast. I can talk about it on my podcast. I can transcribe it from my podcast to write it to my blog. And when I transcribe it, I can refer to my blog from my email. Let me go back and forth. You see where this is headed? And that podcast can then be flipped into a module on one of my online courses. And that online course can consist of self-hosted videos and webinars very similar to what we're doing right now. And all of that, if I wanted it to be a teaser, remember, it's like sitting down for coffee, I can lock that on social media and then build a value ladder that gets them fully invested into these right here or engaging me for professional services. And I don't have to spend all the time in the world not using automation. So we're repurposing all of that. Thank you. Yeah, Brandy, that's a great way of characterizing it, is just working smart and repurposing content. However, when we don't enumerate the ways in which we're going to repurpose our content, we wind up not doing it, right? It's easy to do in today's world, but it's even easier not to do because we look at it and can say it, but are we doing it? Are we doing it? No, we are not. And I know this because my clients don't. They've got for them, money is not the problem. It's just knowing that they have to, or having accountability, right? So I like that Shelly calls it, she likens it to a spider web of components. Absolutely agreed. And it needs to build upward and onward, kind of like that value ladder that I showed before, sort of an inverse pyramid. And consider overlaying that onto your funnel, right? People get more invested where they spend 1x, and then they spend 2x, and then they spend 3x, and then they spend 10x, right? There we go, 10. Oh, oops. I can't really do a Roman numeral 10 and then x, can I? Oops. But then they spend 100x, right? There we go. We'll keep going there. But the point is that you have to host and deliver your own content. If you're only dependent on third-party platforms and you do not rebrand, then it's not really yours in their mind. Can I tell you the number of times? And I showed you a dashboard. For one of the platforms that I use. Let me jump right back to it. A dashboard for one of the platforms that I use right here. And can I just kind of, no, Gene, there, I have no ties to the Illuminati that you can prove. So, yeah. But right here, with this platform right here, I can't tell you the number of people because it is an open marketplace platform that I've had some of these students that thank you for confirming the sound is okay. So right here, how many of these students who come from certain markets, who even though they paid for my content, they paid for it, they wind up pirating it and it shows up on YouTube. What the heck, right? I mean, you paid money for it. Why? Like, why? Why do that? So it is essential. That is why some of you, when you saw me hop onto the Builderall platform, I was very transparent about it, that I hopped onto the Builderall platform precisely so that I could host and deliver all of my own content, have complete vertical control of everything so I could lock it down. Because this comes from this. I know we want all info to be free, but it's just not. Maybe the info is, but your execution and your expertise, not free, right? So these are the 8 secrets that are used. Now, before we jump back into a recap, let me just quickly show you what I did here. Now, I used a template and I appreciate both Shelly, Brenny, and Jean. Yeah. If you don't have full control, then yeah, you cannot achieve the top success. Now, right here, this is one of the really cool elements that is available here in Hover Elements. So cool. I love that we have these available. And Builderall just made it easy to create this template. And of course, this is something that I make available to members of my Tier 2 team for free. And we'll talk about how you can get this template for free later on. But I can do all the adjustments here. As you know, this is the beauty of a drag and drop builder system, right? I don't even have to think or worry about how this works. There we go. I've got full edge flush capability right there, and it's nearly fully centered. It just is easy, right? Easy peasy. I've already got my mobile version set so they work. And once it's saved, it's live. It's just made easy. And I'm doing that so that I can lock my own content and I can give this kind of value away to the people who I know are committed. So let's do a quick recap here, just so we get this out of the way. Very, very brief. Selective representation. What does that even mean? It's just a fancy way of saying that you're choosy about who you sell to and how you present yourself. Easy, right? So keep your website simple and just know who you're selling to. Know what their needs are and know what they actually want and what they have historically purchased, right? Not what they say they're going to purchase, but what they've actually spent money on. So do we have any tea drinkers in the house? Anybody here who prefers a nice cup of Earl Grey on a cloudy or wintry day? Anybody who prefers a good Earl Grey or a nice oolong? Anybody I'm very partial to a good jasmine green tea myself, right? We got jeans with some iced teas. It's still that hot in Texas, man? Man, okay. So here's the thing. Oh my gosh, we found the common thread amongst all the panelists. Wow. Geez, we're gonna have to go and try to find some way to get tea in bulk for this summit, right? Wow. So if somebody came to you and just said like, all right, buy this really awesome coffee that has whey protein in it, right? Buy this whey protein laced coffee. I suspect that most people who just answered would be like, I'm good. Yeah, thank you, Justina. Garvey Tea coming to a fully vertically locked down website near you. Just look up, garveytea.com. But I think it'd be a hard sell, right? Because if we look at your bank statements or we looked at your credit card receipts, I don't think that we'd find a bunch of like crazy new coffee purchases, right? Where you're like, oh, this is this really exotic coffee from this place, and they're out of, wherever, Venice Beach, California, out near Muscle Beach or whatever. And they add whey protein so you can get jacked while you're drinking your coffee. I don't think this is the right audience for that. So you got to know who you're selling to. You got to know not just what they say they want or what they need, but what they actually spend money on. So intentional prospecting recap, again, it's just talking about who you are legitimately attracting into your business, who actually shows up to your business. And that's why you don't follow leads. You just attract lists. And professionals don't close, they call to act. And remember, we talked about attracting lists, and you know that you need at least 5,000 in your list. I feel really good about where I'm starting because I've got a couple more sources a bit like this. I'm making a terrible arrow and it's just getting worse. There we go. Whatever. So I've got an arrow over there. At least 5,000. You've got to do lots of sending per month to actually validate your hunch and to refine your messaging and to do split testing so that it sticks and it converts. And then points 4 and 5. The pros, what are they doing for value ladders? They never post their best material on social media. Again, I'm just as a single case study, I wanted to keep things simple and compare apples to apples. Thank you, Shelley. Bob Ross, bless your heart and rest your soul wherever you are. Thank you for calling it a happy arrow. Kind of a sad arrow. It's pointing down. But here, Gary V never posts his best stuff here. Look at this. I will never get fancy on you. He's literally telling us, I'm going to give you the dregs here on Instagram. If you want the good stuff, go pay for my courses. You kind of getting that vibe between the lines? Right? So you got to ask your followers to do stuff and actually click on stuff. Yes. So right here. And he's talking about be grateful for every follow, every reply, every interaction. And he's practicing what he preaches there. And then the final two, the whole point, locking in profit. Let's try to keep it PG in the comments, folks. PG rated even, if possible, for the replay, because these entrepreneurs are getting younger every day. But 7, never lower your prices. Ever. And always host and deliver your own content. That's how you can guarantee that you know what is working and you know what the right prices are, because you control all of the analytics and you control all of the content. So that is the bottom line right there. But I actually have one more thing for you guys. Got one more thing. Got a little bonus right here and a little invite. Point 9. Bernie, what are you asking about sales? Be more specific before I do this. Gene has a 2-month-old entrepreneur, right? And he is feisty. He's a shrewd negotiator. He yells till he gets his way, I'm sure. But Brenda, you asked about sales. And I'm not sure what you mean by sales, but while you clarify that, I'm going to go through this bonus and this invite. Oh, I see what you mean, Brenda. You're talking about content sales. And doing specials and bundles and adding value needs to be framed as such. So let's jump back that slide. We'll come back to the bonus right here. Never lower your prices. Always host and deliver your own content. Doing a special or a coupon is a very different thing. But even at that, I've seen platforms and marketplaces that coupon themselves to death. Who here is on Groupon? Oh, thank you, Gene, for the correction. The princess has arrived. I'm actually quite jealous. I got 3 boys, and I promise you, I was trying for a girl each time, so I'm jealous, man. I think every daddy wants a girl to spoil. But Brenny, to your point, never lower your prices, but specials and coupons can be taken too far. It's like anything. Too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. It becomes its antithesis. So you think of, oh, that's from Emily. Thank you. But too much of a good thing becomes its antithesis, and specials and coupons can be overdone. Who here remembers Groupon in 2008? I'm asking a very specific question. Who here used Groupon between 2008 and 2010? You can raise hands. You can say, I did. It's okay. The stigma has worn off. Right? Yeah. At that point, it was insane. Free for all. I mean, getting like, it wasn't right. Right? I mean, it was too much value for the discount. It was just way off, and it's not been sustainable. And I know that in consulting mid-sized businesses, and especially small businesses cannot afford to be on Groupon anymore. It's too much of a liability. So coupons and specials, yes, they do work, but they are not a long-term strategy for anyone. So always host and deliver your own content, and beware of specialing yourself to death and discounting your business into oblivion. Here's my bonus and invite. You already know enough. Would you agree? You already know enough. Kinda. What you're not getting is feedback and accountability. What you're not getting is somebody to actually mentor your moves. You know that you can make it work if somebody just checks your work. Am I right? Well, Brenny, you should have moved out when you were 16 and still knew everything. My oldest is 14. I'm getting ready to give him that invitation right now. But here's the point. Everybody on the call, you know enough. You already know enough. The knowledge is out there, and the knowledge is cheap. But the action is what you're not getting enough feedback on. Very briefly, if you are not presently on a team, this is one way you can keep in touch with me. That is my affiliate link for Tier 2 with a big asterisk next to it. Love means limits. And honoring your sponsor is honoring yourself. If I know that you have ditched a sponsor to jump onto my team, I will reject you. Period. I'll show you the door. If I know that you have intentionally left a sponsor to try to get my expertise by joining my team, I will reject you, and I will probably name and shame you. That is not the way we do business here. So this is only for people who are on this call who are looking for a team. But I would also recommend that you continue to learn from the summit. We've got 3 weeks of great content. We've got phenomenal speakers coming up who all have different areas of expertise. So if you know that you need mentorship and you know that you need accountability in, for example, carving out personal time because you are running from a home-based office, we have several other teachers and several other mentors who are going to be teaching on how to do these things from a home-based office. I work from a co-working space when I'm not at my professional office. So remember, honoring your sponsor is honoring yourself. We work together and we help this tide rise up and lift all ships. So if you're looking for a team. Hey, Jermaine, I really appreciate that going out there. Thank you so much for reposting that. But that'll be available also in the replay, and you can see that on the replay. That said, the Q&A is not just for my team members. Today, I'm here just for you. The Q&A, I will say that my members of my team get regular access to my feedback, and they get it through the lens of a professional Fortune 500 senior national trainer and a consultant that works with tech startups and with all kinds of small businesses and mid-sized businesses. That might not be the right fit for you, but I'm happy to answer everybody's questions here today because we got one team, one dream on the Builderall Mastery Summit. And guys, I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for your trust. I want to thank you for your time. And I hope this has provided the value that I know it has for my personal consulting business. I've got money in the bank by following these principles. And I truly and genuinely wish the same for you, but it requires action. I'll take your questions now. Shelly, thank you. Gene, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm not seeing questions from the panelist group. Vencedores Network says, thanks, Seth. Great value. I appreciate it. That is what we're here to do in the Builderall Mastery Summit. Just provide value. You'll notice we are not doing a hard sales pitch. And let me answer a question that maybe hasn't been asked yet. Shelly asks, how do I know what team I am on? That is a phenomenal question. So if you followed an ad to purchase a Facebook ad to purchase your initial membership and your tier 2, you were very likely marketed to. And Linda, thank you for asking. It's an extremely important question to ask. But if you've already purchased your membership and you did so by going through a Facebook ad, dollars to donuts, I am betting that your sponsor paid money to run those ads, and they are attempting to, independently even maybe of this summit, they're attempting to build a business the best way they know how, using the expertise that they have. But actually seeing the name of your sponsor, I don't have an answer for you. I'm going to turn that one over to some panelists, see if they can jump in on the chat here. But I don't believe that there is an indication of where your sponsor is. Now, I'm in the unique situation of not having a sponsor. I signed up directly from Builderall. Just working in the job that I do, I tend to be very tech forward, and I tend to evaluate things on my own time frame and purchase in a very specific way. But so I wouldn't have it listed in my dashboard. I can't tell you from experience, certainly. But does anybody from the panelist network have an answer for that can contribute to the Zoom webinar chat? Okay. So Jermaine says you'd have to contact support. And that sounds about right. But what I will tell you is that inversely, your sponsor does know who you are. And so if you are in the Builderall Mastery Summit group, Brenny, can we start a thread, a Find My Sponsor thread? And yeah, Shelly mentions that support they're very much overrun with working on tech questions, right? Making sure that the product works the way we expect and that we get the great service that we anticipate. Brenny mentions that in the Builderall Mastery Summit group, we can start to ask that question. And again, over the coming weeks, we are happy to begin that search. Remember on Facebook when the trend was, hey, I was adopted, help me find my birth parents? You remember that meme? I can go ahead and do that. And I got a question here. I did sign direct. What about if I decide to get a sponsor? I think that is probably fine. At the end of the day, the affiliate fees go to both your sponsor and to Builderall HQ. I wouldn't want to step on Alex or Eric's toes, but I think they're happy to see teams be built and see strong teams in their organization. And I got a question right here. So what are some of the key actions we should do after your presentation, Seth, as we promised at the beginning? I appreciate you asking. So some of the key actions and the very specific key actions, let me jump back to some content with your permission. And I'd like to show you some key actions that I recommend. If you take only one thing away from today's presentation, I want it to be this. That first off, if you're not being methodical, if you're not being methodical about how you create a brand, and you're not being methodical about who you are marketing to, then good luck locking in profit. Those are foundational steps. And if you're not methodical about how you're representing your brand and whose pain you're trying to take away, good luck getting them to see the value of what you created. Does that make sense? So this is a very specific marketing motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock it down. But not after you get through the first 3. Chrissy Heeg, she says she found it. Did you find where your sponsor information is? Is that what you found? Because we would love to know. We're all ears. Brittany, would it be appropriate to table that in for the Facebook group? Maybe post a link or maybe a tutorial there? Because I don't have a ready answer to that. But right there. And Jermaine, does that, I'm sorry, Michelle Williams, does that answer your question? Does it answer your question as far as key steps to be taken? I want you to be methodical. If you wing it. Oh, oh, cool, Chrissy. It's good to see you on the Zoom meeting. Apparently, she just made it in. She followed the breadcrumbs from Facebook over to here, and I understand there was some difficulty maybe with the scheduling. It's good to see you here. It's great. Michelle is asking, what criteria do you use at the selective representation stage? This is a branding question. I'm glad you asked. It might take us outside of the allotted time that we have for today, but I'm really glad you asked. Michelle, these two, they kind of inform each other. I know it's weird, but your parents were right. Look at your 5 closest friends, and I'll tell you who you are, because you are the sum total of your 5 closest friends. And the same is true of your business associates, right here. Who are you already attracting, and what are you already selling to them, and why? I worked in an outdoor fitness boot camp once. So Will Tigert asked, what is your personal biggest struggle in business? That's a big question, Will, and it's very broad. So I'm going to ask you to refine that just a little bit before I come back while I'm answering Michelle's question here, because it is a bit of a deep dive specific question that she asked there. But with selective representation, right here, and that let's pretend like that's your customer, your profile right there, your profile, not your customer profile over here. But with your profile, when I was working in an outdoor fitness boot camp in Los Angeles, it was the largest outdoor fitness boot camp. This is pre-CrossFit. CrossFit was not a direct competitor just yet because they were pretty disruptive. But in that outdoor fitness boot camp, we did military-themed workouts. We'd have them do push-ups and eat dirt, right? Just like in basic. And they loved it. I don't know why. What's up with folks from Los Angeles? But they loved the military-themed stuff. I think because they've never had to work a day in their lives. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I resemble that comment. But we gave it to them hard, right? Like push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, and a 4-mile run every day. And when the ladies would raise their derriere while trying to do a plank-style push-up, which is the way Uncle Sam defines it, we'd say, stop advertising. So the question is, making it too weird, and then dudes who'd stand up and puff their chest out like, oh, stop advertising, just stand up straight. What are you advertising already? What is already selling? What are you already selling with your personality? And that, I think, is the starting point. And really have a good, honest look. Who am I already attracting with what I'm already putting out into the world? Because mom and dad were right. We are the sum total of our 5 closest associates. Tracy asks, what strategy do you find works best for targeted lead generation? Well, I appreciate that you ask, Tracy. Okay, so we got a duplicate there. So what do I find works best for targeted lead generation? Well, as I mentioned before, at the case study, I actually charge corporations very good money to answer that question in depth because it's always personalized. But I will jump back to this, and I'll say that it really depends on what your starting point is. For example, if you're in a geographical location that puts you in really close contact, say with Filipinos, maybe you know a lot of people in Manila, like I do. Even just by virtue of my last name, the former president of the Philippines his last name was Estrada, Joseph Estrada. And kind of an interesting coincidence there, right? But I get a lot of folks from the Philippines and virtual assistants from the Philippines who want to work with me or for me or want to learn from me. And so I actually have some targeted content for them. And that targeted content leads to proper prospecting in those markets with offers that fit those markets. Does that make sense? So you got to start back at, what is my brand? Who is it for? There's no way to create value and get targeted leads without answering those questions. That's why it has to start 1, 2. Then you move to 3 and 4. So part 2 from Tracy asks, so would you need to build lead generation systems for that market? I'm going to say yes, because lead generation systems must reflect your customer profile. And Chrissy mentions you need to know your avatar first. Thank you, Chrissy. Woo! Dynamite award right there. Took the words out of my mouth, and totally right. You need to know your customer avatar. Otherwise, why? Why create value for somebody who you don't understand? You will. I'll put it this way: if you think Facebook ads can make up the difference, you are mistaken, and you will spend money, time, effort, and headache trying to bash this value ladder over the skulls of people who don't resemble your ideal buyer. Yep. And as Chrissy says, your messaging will still be wrong. They just won't get it through their heads. You're just going to be bashing it over their heads. This is value. This is valuable. This is awesome. It's valuable. They'll be like, huh? There you go. Thanks. No, frowny face. I don't think so. They won't see it. Great question, though, Tracy. I really appreciate that question. Any other questions? Brittany, I think we've got time for about one more until it's 15 after the hour. So let's go ahead and curate one more really good question. And guys, I love the questions. They're extremely important for your professional business. And let me just, while we're waiting for that to come in, let me just comment on this. I want this to be your key takeaway, because all the other stuff, just know that there's a flow to it. And I want you to be aware of there being some kind of a flow and a method, because if you are not methodical with your business, then you can't count on reproducible results in your income. Does this confuse anyone? If you're not methodical in the rollout of your business, your marketing, and your messaging, you can't bank on results. So that's the top takeaway right there. And Jermaine asked, is there one key takeaway? That's it. One key takeaway is that there is a process, and right there has to do with those 8 different subsections right there of those 4 silos. And really appreciate the questions that are being asked, like Shelly's saying. Yeah. Chrissy, again, really good characterization, throwing mud or spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, and it just doesn't work. It does work if you got all the money in the world to burn, but I don't think that's why we're here, and I don't think that's why we chose Builderall. There are more expensive ways to spend money and not get results, right? I'm here to tell you that I chose this particular topic for my keynote because some of us are coming from different backgrounds, right? Some of us may be interested in drop shipping but haven't done it yet. Some of us may have done drop shipping and are trying to figure out, how can I decrease costs across different sides of my funnel building efforts or my lead generation efforts? And I'm just here to say, we've got to come back to center and start getting some of this stuff down into a business plan. Otherwise, all the tools in the world just amount to shiny objects. Guys, I appreciate your attention. I appreciate the wonderful questions, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. I'm humbled and honored that you've chosen to spend this time with me, and I hope this has been valuable. Again, for anybody who's on the call who does not have a team today, please evaluate your options throughout the summit. And if you need to, or if you'd like to, reach out to me via the link here, or reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Guys, you're the best. You've chosen the best, and we are growing our business with the best minds on the best platform. Guaranteed. Thank you so much.